That was disappointing in multiple ways. I mean, we're not just going for the end goal. We're not talking about the end goal. We'll get onto that a little bit later. For those of you who don't know, Liverpool, Newcastle, I'm all over the place. Last minute goal has properly thrown me off. Newcastle 2, Leicester 1. Last minute goal by Guimaraes. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Shot. It was really annoying. It was quite annoying, to be honest. Hopefully we'll have some more people join later, so just bear with if you want. Did we get what we deserve? Ethan thinks yes. It was a bit flat. There was a little bit all over the place where we weren't sure what exactly was going to happen. With the way that we were playing football, we had some good spells, but it kind of summed up Leicester a lot this season. Possession was good. The way that we finished the ball was good. So the way that the decision making was a bit poor. The finishing the final ball was, it wasn't good enough. It really wasn't good enough considering we know how good this team can be. Henry's put in, thanks for joining, Henry. Thanks for giving your comments. Didn't try second half. It was strange. I mean, the substitutions, we've praised Brendan Rodgers before for the substitutions. Look at the last game and we said we got to spot on. Perez coming off, he was creating a lot of opportunities, and Maddison coming on. I thought that would go to the next level. Didn't really happen. Lookman and Barnes, that substitution. I mean, there was one time that there was a Barnes took on his man, players at Dewsbury Hall came across, and it didn't really end in anything. The substitution didn't work. It was again. It was. I won't say it's a bit of an understatement, but a bit flat. That's kind of how I feel about it. A bit flat. Wasn't that great. For possession of the ball, we let Newcastle grow into the game. Now, there's part of me that goes, right, considering that what happened on Thursday, this is kind of okay. It's just a bit confusing, to be honest. I don't want to go too hard on the team because of what we've achieved. There was 8 players. Let's bear in mind. There was 8 players that changed, and that last goal just came out of nowhere. But again, we'll get somebody else in who's just back at the moment. We've got a special guest for you, but actually we'll bring him in now. We have Joaquin all the way from South America. Joaquin, how are you doing, my friend?
Hi Neil, I'm so frustrated. It wasn't that I was expecting for the match. But it's only a match. I think that we should keep calm today.
Yeah, I think it's one of those performances. I think Ant's a little bit more annoyed. I think I can imagine. Ant, I thought you were going to the game. No,
I was meant to be. I'll explain to you after why.
Okay,
but
how was it?
To be honest, like even before the winner at the end, it's just felt a bit flat, and it's like one of those. It was always going to be hard following it up from Thursday because that was such a high. It was practically a B team today. But I think it's more frustrating, not even the fact that we lost, the fact of how we went out and then lost that game. Kasper Schmeichel has to be hanging on to that corner. I don't know what he's trying to do, and I've never seen a man moan as much at absolutely nothing. You can tell his dad's Peter Schmeichel, and he used to get away with it at United, and they'll get the decisions turned around if he moaned. It don't work like that when you play for any other club. And it's like there was absolutely nothing wrong with that goal. I don't know why there was all the took so long to give it. And then that goal at the end, Tielemans just needs to wipe the bloke out, but he's still chasing him now. He was so off the pace with that. But it's one of those. I should be
take this one. It's a frustrating because they didn't create too many opportunities, Joaquin, coming into that. But you consider the 8 changes that were made, kind of on Ant's point. I mean, the entire new back line. I mean, it worked against Crystal Palace. But in this game, I think a few of them, I think people like Luke Thomas didn't have a good game. Daniel Amate kind of went missing. I mean, it was glad that he got a yellow card so early. But defensively, I'd say it wasn't that great today.
Yeah, maybe. I think that today we have lost the match because we haven't tried to win it. It's really frustrating because when we create a chance, we shouldn't take the opportunity for score a goal, and it's that we've seen. I think that since Tottenham, we haven't had a match when we have lost by our own mistakes, and our mistakes come from our anemic anemic state. Yeah, maybe players like Thomas or Papimendi wasn't the enough confidence today, and was a poor performance against players that a lot of quality like San Maximan or Almiron, and we have suffered it's all the match. And yeah, at the end of the 90 minutes, it was it was our it was our own mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that kind of sums it up. And we didn't lose because the other team was absolutely better than us for the entire match. We lost because again, I think in spells, Liverpool Newcastle came on to us and they were better than us, but the goals that we conceded were kind of avoidable.
Yeah, they're very avoidable. But I'm not going to do, because it winds me up massively when you see bigger clubs fans do it to us. You've got to give credit to Newcastle for staying in the game when we put them under pressure. But set pieces are just, honest to God, watch any other post-match from this season and see what I've said about our pathetic defending of set pieces. I just feel like a broken record. It's just, how many times can we say the same thing? And then there was one in the second half of Dan Burn, who's 6'7". How can you not see a 6'7" bloke completely unmarked with a free header in the box? It's just it's so basic, it's painful.
Mm-hmm. And then I think for that first goal, I mean, it came at about 30 minutes. I think we've got it down as. But as in Joaquin, as Ant was saying as well, when Schmeichel went over to the referee and was complaining, I at the first glance I understood it, and then second time I didn't quite understand why he was doing it, because we should have done a lot better. And with Schmeichel, I don't know if you thought that Schmeichel's defending wasn't good enough.
Yeah, maybe. I think that Schmeichel had a mistake, and I think that is a misunderstanding between the defense and the goalkeeper. And I think that is our mistake, because I think that with a goalkeeper and his center backs, there should have been a lot of communication in the match, because these things could happen. And we have paid our confidence mistake. And yeah, it's a mistake of the team, and the center back should have make something for Bruno. Fitz wasn't passed for this space, and maybe Casper doesn't have the fast with his reflex. But yeah, it's so frustrating, because it's a situation that in a normal context it shouldn't have been a goal.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't really be happening. And if we want to progress to the next level, as we saw against Crystal Palace, get to that next league where we're playing Europe, then we're playing Premier League, then playing Europe, making lots of changes, we should be able to see games like this out. And again, they're learning, but we didn't have it today. No, nowhere near.
The thing is, though, say we didn't stupidly in about the 94th minute launch the ball long, trying to set up an attack where no one was ready, and it was obvious we were going to get countered because we weren't set up at all. We'll be sitting here saying this is a very good point. After having to pretty much play a B team, to go away to Newcastle, who are absolutely rocking at the moment and having their lives, don't begrudge them at all. Enjoy their new ownership and all of that. But they're made St James's Park's brilliant, difficult place to go. Getting a point for the circumstances with a B team, that would have been a decent result. But again, how many times I think there's a stat saying that from the 80th minute to the 50th minute, from 80th minute to the end of the game, we've dropped 15 points this season.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. And I think somebody put it in the comments down below.
That'll put 15
us in the points. And considering the amount of, I think some people, again, as Chrissy puts a good point in here, how many times have we thrown away in the last second of the match? And it kind of, again, it was same thing as Tottenham, where we lost the game. We should have got at least a point out of the game. And if it's not work, again, it's as Joaquin, as Ant was saying, it's bad game management. We need to go into the game. Cool, we've not played our best. We've not understood the mission. Keep it calm, not try and overly win, and try and maybe get into them and understand. But maybe it's a young team, but the game management was poor from Leicester in this, especially towards the end of the game.
The thing is, sorry, do you mind me saying this? You say it's a young team, but the big errors today were from the senior players.
Mm.
I know Luke Thomas had a bad game, but the big moments, Yuri Tielemans brings the runner down right at the start of that attack, then nothing comes from it. And in the 94th minute, so what if he picks up a yellow card? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, so that's a mistake. And then from the corner, I think you can say a bit on Dewsbury Hall. I don't think massively. Maybe should have done a little bit more for Bruno. But Schmeichel, as the leader of that back line, has got to be doing more. So for me today, it was like as much as everyone will say about it being a young team, it was the senior players today.
That's an interesting point. I mean, I've never thought of it that way. Joaquin, what do you think on that as well? Like just kind of seeing out the game in a professional way to get the point, at least get a point out of the game.
Yeah, I was hearing out, and I have a problem today with the performance of Yuri Tielemans. Yeah, he wasn't enough today. I think that he isn't. We are suffering the absence of Sumare and Ndidi, and Yuri is playing so defensive than he likes, but he is playing without an intention to do his best in his position. I think that he have a mental thing, yeah. I think that it's important to give him a new opportunity, but because we haven't another confidence player in this position, but right now it's so sad to see him playing like this because he has a big level at the start of the season. Right now he's probably in his poor moment, but yeah, even the mentality to think about that a player is so good for staying in Leicester is something that it's really frustrating for the fans.
I think it is. And it's again the fans that went down, the fans that were going to go to the game. Long travel as well for Newcastle is a far place from Leicester's. So we needed to make sure we get the point. I mean, Brad's in the comments. Make sure you go and subscribe to Brad. He's got, I think, his second episode of his podcast from If You Know Leicester Till I Die. Brad's on there. He's got his own podcast out there. Newcastle played 11 behind the ball. They had no reason to finish the final third. Gave us nothing to finish in the final third. Even so, we were robbed. I think Newcastle did play decently. They had a plan and they went and stuck to it, and they feel like, right, we've got 3 points off them. But we did try. I think you said another point where we tried the same thing. Yeah, no plan B. We tried the same thing again and again. We tried to change the players. We changed Lookman for Barnes and things like that, and it didn't happen. So it's again when Brendan Rodgers gets it wrong, we do have to criticize it, even though and it's so frustrating because he got it so right against PSV. He got the substitutions and the timings so right, and in this one, it's not worked.
It's not, and I'm going to surprise you here. I don't put any of the blame on Rodgers today. He had to rotate. He had to.
Oh yeah.
He had to go for the team that he did, and this wasn't the priority today at all. And as I've said it 2 or 3 times now, if Tielemans puts a shift in at the end and actually just takes the man out and stops that counter attack, which any semi-competent holding midfielder would do, and it's like, I know that's not his position, but you should know sort of that's for all I'm playing today. That's what I will do. So I don't blame that on Rodgers today. Fair play to Newcastle. I don't think we were robbed at all. I disagree with that. They stuck in the game and they managed to get themselves 3 points. So it's one of those. We didn't it just felt like a flat game to me. We didn't create a huge amount. They didn't create a huge amount. And for me, it seems like two teams that very much Newcastle know they're not going down now. We're where we are in the league and that maybe climb a place or two. But yeah, it's one of those. I don't you want to win to keep the momentum going, but in the circumstances, it's no point overreacting to it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be here going absolutely terrible, blah, blah, blah. I think, and considering we were on such a high and we're trying to, considering we couldn't get a win at the beginning of the season. Now we're through to the semi-finals and then we've just lost in the last minute. They will be happy in terms of Newcastle. I think you're right, Joaquin, as well. And what I saw from Newcastle was a team plan and people putting their bodies in front of the ball, making sure they defended really strongly, and there was a game plan. And I think in that terms, their game plan worked better than ours.
Yeah, maybe in the first half we have a good idea. I think that we try in the first half. In the second half, I don't know what was the plan for win the match. Yeah, I think that this time the timing of the changes isn't good enough, and I think that today we have seen that our team is so short. We haven't a defensive midfielder who has gives a rest to the others. We have seen too that Kiernan Dusburhall wasn't so intensive like he was in the other match. Cause I think that he's playing all the games and all the minutes, and it's normally that he had a little of tired, but we need in the summer we need to have a new player who have give us the solutions, because right now Sumarek who could being a solution is injured or silly, I don't know exactly, but we need solutions. We need have a better bench than we have right now. There's players that can continue in this team, and maybe we are giving the league for lost, and it's so sad because we are playing like our only objective is the conference, and we haven't hope in the league, and we shouldn't have reached this point at this point of the season.
Yeah, I think you're right. We shouldn't have reached this point. And I mean, in terms of substitutions, I mean, you look at the bench that we had today: Evans, Barnes, Maddison or Brighton, Iheanacho, Chowdhury, Ricardo, Castagna, Jakupovic. I mean, compare that to the substitutions that you compare that to this bench, and it's nowhere near. I mean, they brought on Murphy, Willock, Gale, who, in my opinion, is not a Premier League player. Yes, he only played 3 minutes, but it shows you, and it's sometimes not the quality of the bench, but it's about the desire and the maybe that I don't want to make excuses for them, but maybe it felt like that Newcastle wanted it more, and they got it just from their lack of their ambition, and they wanted that game more than we did.
Yeah, I'd say it's higher, and also the decision making in key areas as well. Like, I thought as well, going back to sort of that team as well, that we the bench and stuff. I thought we had some good options off the bench. I was a bit surprised because let's try and spin a positive like we always do. There was an element of sarcasm there, yes, I know.
I thought insult at me, but yes.
I thought Perez had a good game today again.
Yes.
And also Lookman, we've got to sign him up. Like, surely.
Yes. I think
I was a bit surprised he came off, for Barnes, because I thought Lookman was one of the players who looked more lively but was stretching him at times. And then for him to come off, nothing against Barnes, and like sort of it's almost irrelevant that it was Barnes who came on. It was more of the fact that Lookman came off, and I thought Lookman was having quite a decent game.
I think so as well. Just whacking on that, I think Lookman was. I think every time we got the ball and the ball progressed from KDH, it went over to Lookman, and Lookman was trying to make things happen on that left-hand side. After he went, I think him and Perez were actually the two players up front that were creating the most opportunities for Leicester. Then when they came off, I think I got like when Maddison came on, nothing really happened. Barnes came on for Lookman, and he had one opportunity, I think, and that's about it. I mean, so Brendan, to be honest, from Perez and Lookman, I think the substitutions, he took off our two most creative players that were going to win us the game potentially.
Yeah, maybe today was the best match that I have seen to Perez in a long time. Yeah, and I think that it shows a reality that it's so disappointing that when our best players like Madison or Barnes isn't in a good form or are tired for a give us a solution, our replacement like Lukman and Perez could be good players for our rotation, but they hasn't enough for win a match for themselves, and that isn't bad because not every player that we have in the squad should be an differential or a generational talent. But today we couldn't win the match with Lukman and Perez, and we couldn't win the match with Barnes and Madison. And I think that it's frustrating because we aren't finding solutions for our for our currencies in the pitch. Yeah, maybe the other player that hasn't his best match was Patson Daka. He was doing a lot of dirty work, and when Iheanacho comes, nothing has changed. Yeah, it's maybe a theme that we aren't fighting really for have a best position in the league. I think that is this.
Yeah, I think so, and I think because where we are, it would just be getting to that top of that group. So it's frustrating because of the run of form we're on, and we could have at least, again, having a point would have been a positive point considering both teams were relatively equal throughout the game. And one thing I think people have mentioned before, I want to see if I can find it. I've lost it now. Well, 1 point, Hamza could have suited the game. I think Hamza's physicality in that central CDM role could have worked. But the other one I want to get on for as well. Where's it gone? I can't find the comment. I'll try and find the comment. But Patson Daka, and I mean, he's a great player. Today he just looked off it. He looked a bit lost. He didn't quite at the beginning. He had some good touches, and I remember him progressing the ball quite well and splitting the play and pushing Leicester up the pitch. I'm surprised he still got subbed at 77 minutes. I thought he could be sooner because I think there's a real talented player, and we've seen a real talented player in him. Just didn't work today, did it?
It didn't, and how many times have we said it, though? It's starting to get like a little bit repetitive as well. He just didn't manage to get himself involved in the game enough. And I feel he's at the moment, and like bear in mind, I think Patson Daka's got a great future at Leicester. I think he's a bright prospect. But so many times at the moment, when it's not going sort of well, he disappears in games. When we're playing really well, he'll be at the centre of a lot of that. But when it goes very quiet, he's not involved. But I thought as soon as Iheanacho came on, he was much more involved in the game, getting on the ball, dropping deeper, and was sort of, there's more questions to be asked. But it's one of those like it's like if Daka had sort of got onto the end of one of those runs in behind, then we'd be saying like brilliant and stuff. But at the same time, whilst Yuri's absolutely stinking up the pitch like he was today and has been for the last week or so, well, I say week or so, I think that's been very generous if I'm honest. He's got no service at all. It's like he had no service today, but at the same time, if you're going to be that the next level striker like what Vardy is, you almost need to create something for yourself at times.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right, and that's the thing. We've got a few Newcastle fans in the chat, so thank you very much, the Newcastle fans. But again, kind of good luck for the Euros in terms of Conference League. Thank you very much. We'll see if we can get any players. Well, not even the Euros, World Cup, but that's something else altogether. But it's always interesting to always listen to the opposition fans and see what they say because they always will provide another opinion. And I think that's really interesting. I think you missed a decent striker again, as Ant was saying. We have 3 great strikers. You look at the statistics. Again, there's a Twitter account called the other 14, where it focuses on the other 14. And Patson Daka, Jamie Vardy, and Iheanacho were up there in terms of goal per minutes, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work today.
Again, that the other 14. Sorry, I always take that one with a pinch of salt because I feel like our numbers are slightly inflated because of the Conference League because they always do all competitions. But
okay.
But I do think as well what you're saying though is about we do have 3 great strikers, but I do think this was I'll say this every game, you know this, but I think this was a game for Iheanacho. I really do. But it's that thing. He played on Thursday. You can't play him you can't play him Thursday, then Sunday. So and then we go again on Wednesday, and so it's like I see why Daka played. I just don't think today was the game for him.
Yeah, but also considering we had Vardy out, considering we had Daka made sense in terms of the starting lineup, and I think the starting lineup he played to me made 100% sense why he played it, but it just didn't come together. And what was disappointing is we actually got weaker as in the second half, and that's something that was again quite disappointing. So just looking back at some of my notes again, it's a bit of a weird one to analyze because I think we've covered the majority of it, Joaquin. I don't think there's anything else we can say. And credit to Newcastle for playing well, but I'd say overall it was a pretty 50-50 game. And there are some positives. I think Ozzy Perez was definitely one of them. And as you were saying, we've not seen him play that well in a while. I think KDH had a decent game as well. Not an amazing game by his standards, but a decent game.
Yeah. In the terms of the positive notice, Ayose is one of the best. He is in the recent games against PSV, he was give the assistant. Right now, he has played well, and it's important because all we know is that he has a lot of talents. He's a player that knows the league, and in Newcastle has done the things great. Maybe with us, the thing has not working recently, but by this part of the season, it's important to have all our players in a good form. He could give rest to Lookman, to Barnes, if it's necessary. He could play like a offensive midfielder in the place of Mason. And yeah, it's interesting to have him again. I think that today the team has lost a lot of ball distribution when he was out of the pitch. Maybe I think that his best position is like a second striker in with a player like. I think that Bardi was his best mate, but I could try with him and Nacho. But we will see that this is enough for reach something important with Ayose in the team. Yeah, and maybe we should give a rest to Cali to this Hulk because there's no one player in the world could play the 90 minutes every week and try in Europe. And yeah, I think that when Sumare could come back, it's important to give him minutes, especially in the league when we have probably because Sumare is a good player. He could play easily against Newcastle, yeah. And we need all our players if we could have a improve in the league, and maybe we could dream with the conference, because I think that is our important competition right now.
Yes, yeah, you're right, Joaquin. But also, I think if Leicester City, I think the level they want to get to is be able to rotate these teams. They need to be picking up points. So I do agree with what you're saying, but the mentality of the players needs to be focused on one game at a time and to go through. And yes, it's been a long coming from Holland, coming back and then going to Newcastle, sure. But I think for the mentality, I think we just need to make sure that we are a little bit better and we are stronger in the games, because we played well at parts and we let Newcastle back into the game, and even though we had more possession, we let them dictate where to go. And when they came onto us, we didn't have that right, we're going to shut up shop, we're going to take possession, we're going to calm the game down, and then we're going to go again. And I think that's what disappointed for me. And also that one, and before we finish, we are a bit too nice. We need to be a bit more, as you were saying, go and take Tillemans, take him out. For the last minute of the game, just take that yellow and take him out. Stop being too nice and just go and be a bit more brutal, a bit hard, and a bit physical.
I'd just like to see when players are getting a bit frustrated, just someone kick someone, just get stuck into someone, just something. But like the thing with today, it's like you say, and when we were the first half an hour, we were very good in that game. And sorry, up until we conceded, we were by far the better team. And like the thing is, the set piece goal, conceding goals from set pieces in itself is a problem. But then once we concede the goals, then our responses from them are also very poor. So it's like we've conceded the goal from a set piece, which is one point, and then after we concede the goal, again our heads drop, and then like the momentum of the game is completely changed. So it's not just the conceding from set pieces that's the problem; it's then the response from that.
Yeah, exactly. So apart from that, Joaquin, we move on to the next game against Everton. But give us your final thoughts, because I don't think I've got anything else to really talk about.
Yeah, maybe I think that it's important to say is that team lost a lot of things without Wesley Fofana. He's really important not only for the defensive works he also is important for the ball distribution. I think that we could say that in the good notice we are having a good version of Soyuncu. He is reaching a good level again. And yeah, maybe right now the important thing is keep calm. It's not definitely much. It's disappointing, but we could improve our performance in the future, and we aren't so late. We have 2 matches and for have a best position in league, and yeah, maybe all the things that are happening says that our objective should be the Conference League. Yeah, it's the reality.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Again, that's what we have to concentrate on, but it isn't good enough, so we'll have to see as well. And final thoughts before we finish.
It was pretty crap, but if we're honest, I'm not going to lose sleep over one bad performance once we've seen to really turn a corner. So it's disappointing, but it was a B team. On to Wednesday, we've got bigger things coming up.
Yeah, and we've hopefully can pick up some more games. We've got a decent enough run to the end of the season, so we'll have to hopefully continue. Again, make sure you check out Joaquin. I've left his link in the description to his Twitter and his group as well. So make sure you check out them. Check out and again link in the description down below. Thank you everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.